Welcome to Inspirational Journeys, everyone. My name is Ann Harrison, and I am your host. If you remember last week, I talked about stepping away from your writing as part of getting unstuck. This week, we're going to talk about how to conquer the brick walls in your writing once you come back to it. So last week was part 1, this is part 2. Before I get started, I want to remind you, for those of you watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And for those of you listening on the podcast, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, share the podcast with your friends, and leave a rating and review because it does help other people find the show. Okay, so if you remember from last week, I talked about stepping away from the writing by doing other things, reading in your genre, reading outside your genre, taking a walk, working on another project, a lot of different things that we discussed. And if you missed that episode, please do go back and listen. And I can link part 1 in the episode show notes and description so that you can go back from here. But anyway, so we're going to talk about moving forward, okay? Of course, I'm talking about self-care, which is part of that. That's stepping back. But what can you do to move forward? Okay, let me explain something that I did. Let me give you an example, okay? So during NaNoWriMo, I had the word count goal of 50,000 words. I didn't think I was going to make that 50,000, but needless to say, even with having to deal with cellulitis, I came out strong. I actually ended up making 52,000, I think it was. I don't exactly remember. So the point that I'm trying to make is, even after NaNoWriMo, I did a word count in December. I put my word count at 20,000. I actually ended up getting 25,000. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. So, but that's okay. You know, whatever it was, I surpassed my goal. I didn't put it on the website, but I did have a way to keep track of it. So, but this month, when I started 2021, I didn't do that. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to try to, do a chapter a day and try to work with that goal and see if that works. Well, the problem was it didn't always work out that way. Sometimes a chapter a day turned into only a scene or 2 a day. And it took me 2 or 3 days to do a chapter. And so that's how I got stuck. I got stalled out. So this became a brick wall in my writing, because I'm like, I couldn't write for like 3 days. I even tried to write like on Friday of last week. It didn't work. It really didn't work. But then earlier this week, I had ideas and I ended up writing that, later that day, that night, whatever. I ended up writing a character profile on Monday, ended up starting chapter 8, and then, no, the character profile was done on Sunday. Then I started chapter 8 Sunday night. Then Monday, this past Monday, I know you will hear this 2 weeks ahead, but Monday, January the 25th, I did another profile. I had my door open, all that kind of stuff, because the weather was fit to do that, and I was able to listen to the wind chimes and let the wind chimes inspire me, even with working on a freelance project. So how do I describe this? Okay, so, and you may be wondering, where are you going with this? I'll just keep listening. I promise I am going somewhere. I may be rambling a bit, but I am definitely going somewhere with it. So I plan no further than the headlights, even though I do character Bibles and write synopses and things. But with the scene list, if I plan too far ahead and the story turns out to go in a different way, then I have to go back and change the scene list, which is okay. If you have to do that, that's okay. But I just plan no further than the headlights. And since I was on Tish Bouvier's podcast, I'm trying to think what the date was. It was on Thursday, January 21st. because as you're hearing this, you're going to be hearing this in the second week of February. So that's why I had to go back and look at it. But do check out the One Word Writer podcast. That's ONE Word Writer podcast on Anchor or your favorite podcast platform, because she's starting a new podcast and you're going to absolutely love it. Anyway, I'm giving you a shout out, Tish. But where was I? Okay, so, but I was telling her that I was stuck in traffic in my writing. And sometimes that is what can happen. We can get stuck in traffic. Say our book is a road trip. We are the drivers. We can get stuck in traffic, or we can hit a brick wall. And so where I was going with that goal thing that I started when I went off on another tangent was, no matter what kind of goal you set, you test out your goals that you've put for yourself. You set measurable goals. You test those goals out to see what works for you, and then you rearrange them. So for next month, I'm going to set a goal to get 20,000 words in the month of February, because I only have 28 days. I could do 30,000 words in 28 days, possibly. But with everything else that I have going on, I'm just going to set it for 20,000. And if I surpass that goal, I surpass that goal. And I think doing the word count will keep me motivated, even though I have other things to do, like podcasting, professional writing, other things like that. I can still work toward the goal in my novel. That will help me. So what kind of goals do you have do you set for yourself? Is it how many hours you can do a day? How many hours you can do a month? How many chapters you can do a day? What are those goals? But here's a caveat to that. And I want to give a shout out to Sarah Werner and her Right Now podcast, because today is Wednesday, January 27th, as I record this. And it was today's episode of the podcast, or when you're hearing this, the episode from 2 weeks ago, when she was talking about outrunning the avalanche, where you feel like if you get behind, you have to do more and more and more and more and more. Well, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to tell your audience, like, for example, if you're podcasting, it's okay to tell your audience that you need to take a hiatus. I did that. And it's okay to take some time off from your writing and readjust your goals. Readjust your goals, not only for the year, but for the month, whatever. Because I had a goal that I said I was going to finish this novel that I'm working on by February 28th. If that doesn't happen, I just adjust it out to the end of March. But I make those changes. If I don't reach that deadline, okay, I set a new one. But I try to reach the deadline and I try to make it. And if I get ahead of schedule and finish it before that deadline, then I can start working on revisions for Shadow of Truth. But right now, I know that I have to keep pushing words forward, but not outrun the avalanche. If I need to take some time and read and do some self-care, that's okay too. That is absolutely fine. Because sometimes you have to do that. You have to take a step back and take another look at your story, see where is it going. And when you do that, for me, dreams come. I have these dreams that totally inspire me. So it's the dreams, it's the book I read. Sometimes if I'm not reading in my genre and I go back to it, boom, that morning, Sunday morning, that's what happened. Sunday morning, I was reading Active Defense by Lynette Eason. What happened? I was stuck. I couldn't think of what to write. I couldn't get my mind focused on my book. But then I started reading that, and I'm telling you, all of a sudden, it just clicked into place. Just like that. That's what it takes sometimes. I know I'm not snapping into the microphone, but I'm doing it as the video so you see what I'm doing. But still, it just all clicks into place. Then I'm off and running, doing the character Bible for these characters, writing another scene in my book. So, you do what works for you. But that's how you surpass those brick walls. You figure out what works, and you try different things, and then you stick with what works. And then you're off and running again. You surpass that one brick wall. And when you reach another brick wall, you take a step back, take a look, and see why the brick wall is in your way. You not only that, you pray for God to move those brick walls. And if It's something that, you let God lead you as to how he wants you to remove the brick walls in your story. Because sometimes those brick walls are there for a purpose. It's God's way of telling you, you need to step back and take a look and stop where you're going, or your characters could be blocking your path, saying, wait, I'm not going to do this. This is not what I would do. This is not the way I want to go. I need to go this way. The brick wall is there to show you a different path, and you go around it. So the reason I keep coming back to the brick walls is because of the last lecture by Randy Pausch. He had a quote about brick walls, which I absolutely need to find so that I can put it in the description. And I promise you I will, because he had so many different quotes about brick walls. And God, and he showed me that God puts brick walls in your life for a reason. Or you put the brick walls there, or something happens and the brick walls come up there, or you have put brick walls up around certain aspects of your life to bury them because you don't want to face them. And your characters may do the same thing. So that's why I keep coming back to the brick wall. It's like, how can you surpass that brick wall, walk through it, remove it? Sometimes you can be thrown over it. Sometimes you work around it. But if the brick walls are there, there's a way to conquer them. And sometimes you just got to pray and write your way through it. And sometimes it takes journaling to do that. So go out there, conquer those brick walls, either by climbing over them, removing them, asking God to remove them, or finding another way around them. Okay? That's how you get unstuck in your writing. By figuring out why the brick walls are there and asking God to help you remove them or remove them for you. So that's my brick wall talk today. I want to thank you so much for listening. I want to challenge you to go out there and read to get inspired, write something inspiring, and share your creation with the world. For remember, when you touch one life, you touched 1,000. And if you don't think your story matters, believe me, it does. Because stories do matter. That's why I call the podcast Inspirational Journeys Stories That Matter, because they matter so much. Sometimes a story that you write can be what somebody needs to read, can have the message someone needs to hear in their own lives. So follow the calling of the Holy Spirit. Let God lead you as you write, as you surpass those brick walls in your life and in your writing. And my prayer for you is that God gives you the patience, the wisdom, and the strength and the courage to keep writing. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. Take care, and we will talk again next week. Bye-bye.